Respected chair, panelists, participants, ladies and gentlemen, namaste, good evening, good afternoon, and good morning to everyone watching us right now from different parts of the world. Welcome to the webinar hosted by Center for Diplomacy and Development on the occasion of the 4th anniversary of its founding. Despite our wish, it has not been possible to hold any ceremony physically due to the situation. Today's webinar is yet another important program hosted by CDD, even at such COVID-19 induced pandemic situation. The topic of today's webinar is women's empowerment, gender equality, and digitalization for women. This webinar is supported by Kimbutek, Nami College, Nemun, Rise Media Network, DC Nepal, Mero Network, Leh Himalaya Hotel, and Base International College. It is my privilege to be the moderator of this webinar. I, Anishma Gautam, on behalf of Center for Diplomacy and Development, would like to extend a warm welcome to the respected panelists and all the participants. Now, let me give a brief introduction of Center for Diplomacy and Development. CDD is a think tank on the track to diplomacy. It was established in February 2018 for undertaking several activities like holding seminars, workshops, hosting talk programs, undertaking research studies, creating forums, contributing to promote mutual understanding between foreign and Nepali community. Today we have with us very distinguished personalities as the panelists. We thank them for their cooperation and valuable time. Before we start this webinar, I would like to mention a few rules and code of conduct. Our speakers can unmute themselves whenever they wish to speak, share the slides, or record the live webinar. Speaker will be given 15 minutes for the presentation. We will not take any questions in between the presentation. However, we will take a few questions at the end of the session. All the participants' mic will be muted, so the questions should be put forward either in the Zoom chat box or in the comment section of Facebook Live. Please keep your questions short, precise, and relevant to the topic. Long, inappropriate questions will not be entertained and will be clubbed. Since last few days, we are having power cutoff in Kathmandu. I would like to request everyone to patiently wait for the webinar to resume. If any speaker gets disconnected in the middle of the presentation, we are very worried due to power cutoff situation and request all to understand if any untoward situation emerges. Now, may I invite Chair Mr. Mohan Krishna Shrestha, Founder President of CDD and former Ambassador of Nepal to France, to give his welcome remarks. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Moderator Anishma ji. Distinguished panelists, audience at home and abroad, friends and well-wishers, ladies and gentlemen, good evening, good morning, and namaste. First of all, I would like to take this opportunity to inform that Center for Diplomacy and Development completes its 4th year of establishment. I therefore would like to thank all of you for your good wishes and support, as well as for cooperation during these intervening years. We cannot celebrate physically now due to pandemic situation. However, we will meet as soon as situation will improve. Today, I'm very pleased to introduce our new General Secretary, Mrs. Kirti Thapa, an excellent lawyer. She holds 2 LLMs, one from Nepal and another from the University of Connecticut, USA. She has years of rich professional experience in varied fields. I, on behalf of CDD and our promoters, welcome Kirti ji and look forward to work together to achieve intended objectives of CDD. Dear audience, as you must have noted, even during the pandemic time, CDD remained effortful to host webinars on several issues of topical importance. Webinar has indeed been an instrument of extreme usefulness to connect the people around the globe. CDD too benefits from its usage, joining people in living at different time zones. It is in a way wonderful achievement in communications. Today, we are once again hosting an important webinar on the theme of women's empowerment, gender equality, and digitalization for women. These 3 issues are very important from societal point of view. We have invited eminent personalities to speak on the issues. We thank them all. Their presentations will be useful to gain knowledge for us. In our country, women play a vital role in the family, society, and in the process of nation building. Women are in different forms and manifestations. Without women, our family is incomplete. Our society needs women for love, affection, and tender care. I therefore think without adequately empowering women legally, socially, and economically, we cannot make peaceful situation, neither achieve any progress. Since few years, our country has also made good progress on the issues of women's empowerment and gender equality. Laws have been enacted, rules have been made, suitable changes have been effected in the existing laws, all for empowering the women. Yet, sadly, there exist a lot of anomalies and lacunae in the field. Let us hope with the passage of time, situation will improve with constant beagles from women and women activists. CDD firmly believes that the issues of women's empowerment and gender equality have far-reaching consequences and urgency. These needs to be addressed correctly and according to changing times. We have made tremendous progress from legal and constitutional points of view in this regard. However, laws may need sincere and effective implementation. Without implementation, any good laws cannot render effective outcomes. I have spoken on just on macro level on these issues. However, our panelists will dwell more precisely and broadly on these issues after some time. Dear audience, recent census results show that there are 6 lakhs more women than men in our country. As we all know, women have been marching ahead in our country. Also, we also have a woman president since last several years, and there are many leaders in the government, legislatures, and corporate sectors too. These all augurs well, but we must take note that we need to work more vigorously to advance the causes of women and their empowerment in our country. They must be given leadership roles so that they can show their talent and prowess. Similarly, many women have become leaders in many countries. They have proved their worth, and several served their countries of birth with distinction. Gender equality is yet another important issue. Comparatively, gender equality issues have not picked up as per changing times. Men far outnumber women in job opportunities. Few isolated cases cannot be cited as perfect examples. We need to promote gender parity in the society and job market. From the legal and constitutional point of views, both men and women have similar equal status, but in reality, there is still remains a vast difference. Finland presents an extremely present case of gender equality in the government sector. The country is run by a woman prime minister who is under 40 years, and her key ministers are just around 30 to 35 years of age. To our comparison, this age bracket is less than half from ours. They also have the tedious image of the government where corruption is almost non-existent. Dear audience, now another important topic is digitalization for women has also emerged. This issue also needs to be promoted in an accelerating pace. If more women have access to digitalization, it will bring more good impacts on our society and family. Life will be more easy with digitalization and technology. For the advancement of women in the society and in the country, women must learn different aspects of digitalization. We strongly feel that age of promoting digitalization is dawning in our country too. Wider and effective use of digitalization will be helpful both for men and women and to our society at large. Women too are fast learners. Smartphones these days have radically changed our lives. So many vital functions can be accomplished by fingertips through smartphone. It is indeed a wonder from every point of view. However, more wonders are to come through the process of digitalization. For a mountainous country like ours, digitalization can change the lifestyle of the people for much better facilitated, economized, and promotion of non-corrupt practices. People are talking about paperless working methods these days. It is possible. I'm also amazed to note that time has changed. More formidable changes are to come with the promotion of digitalization. It is my firm conviction that digitalization can change the image of our country for better as well as to control vicious cycles of corruption. With these few remarks, now let me end my welcome remark here, and I thank you all for your kind attention.
Thank you, Mohan sir. Now, I would like to give a brief introduction of our first speaker for today, Mr. R.K. Dhungana, educator and capacity development expert. Mr. Dhungana is a researcher and development facilitator. He is currently doing his MPhil in the educational leadership. He is the trainer, motivational speaker, life coach who conducts various trainings, workshops, and seminars for different government and non-government non-government professionals, socio-political leaders from different organizations, teachers, parents, and principals of various school colleges, social worker of different NGO, INGOs as a freelancer, trainer, life coach. He is the CEO and founder of Admire Multipurpose Company and Personality Development Nepal, chairperson of Nepal Climate Change Federation, general secretary of Alternative Foundation and the innovator and founder of Team Kal Private Limited. He has published more than 100 articles in different national dailies and articles on youth governance and political issues since 2009. His other activities include school management and development, dealing with 4 pillars, 4 F's, management for happy life, life coaching, extreme need of today, good governance, and human rights. Now, may I invite Mr. Dungana for his presentation? The floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Anishma ma'am. Thank you for the cooperation and inviting me for this wonderful program. सबैजना नेपाली हुनुहुन्छ सबैजनालाई फेरि पनि नमस्ते म नेपाली इंग्लिश दुईटालाई प्रिफर गरे सबैजना यो हाम्रो लाइभ पनि भइराछ स्पेशली फोकस चाहिँ हामीले नेपाली सोसाइटीलाई नै गर्नुपर्छ त्यही भएर इंग्लिश एज वेल एज नेपालीमा गर्न मलाई मन लाग्छ सेन्टर फर डिप्लोमेसी एन्ड डेभलपमेन्ट ले लामो समयदेखि विभिन्न सवालहरुमा आफ्ना विषयहरु राखिरहेको थाहा पाउँदा मलाई निकै नै गर्व महसुस भएको छ त्यसको लागि मोहन सरलाई धेरै धन्यवाद मलाई इन्भाइट गरिदिनु भएको छ अब समयको लिमिटेसन छ त्यही भएर म डाइरेक्टली सबैजनालाई एकमुष्टमा धन्यवाद ज्ञापन गर्दै म आफ्नो स्लाइडमा जान चाहन्छु मेरो स्लाइड देखिएको छ
Yes.
ओके आजको हाम्रो टपिक वुमेन्स एम्पावरमेन्ट एन्ड डिजिटलाइजेसन फर वुमेन जुन छ सबैभन्दा पहिला यो क्वेशन छ विश्वभरि नै कसरी हामीले वुमेन्सको एम्पावरमेन्ट गर्ने नेपालमा त छँदै छ म लगभग सबै जिल्ला पुगेको छु हामी काठमाडौँमा छौं बस्छौं यहाँनेर विभिन्न सोसाइटी विभिन्न व्यक्तिहरुसँग इन्टरेक्सन गरिरहेका छौं तर ग्रामीण अथवा चाहिँ रुरल रिमोट एरियाको महिलाहरुको जिन्दगी आज पनि निकै बेहालपूर्ण छ त्यसले गर्दा सबभन्दा ठूलो क्वेशन वुमेन्स एम्पावरमेन्ट कसरी गर्ने नेपालको पपुलेसन अहिले भर्खरै 2078 को सेन्सस पनि आइसकेको छ 6-7 लाख भन्दा बढी वुमेन्सहरु हुनुहुन्छ आज आकाश ढाकेको भनिन्छ 51-52% चाहिँ वुमेन्सहरु हुनुहुन्छ तर उहाँहरुको पार्टिसिपेसनको सवाल उहाँहरुको इन्भल्भमेन्टको सवाल उहाँहरुको एक्सेसको सवाल आज पनि क्वेशन मार्क नै छ मैले यो आजको प्रेजेन्टेसन तयारी गर्दै गर्दा एउटा अमेरिकाको एउटा डेटा हेरेको थिएँ त्यहाँ पनि वुमन एम्पावरमेन्टको सवाल आज पनि जल्लो बग्छ विश्वभरि नै छ त्यहाँ के थियो त भन्दाखेरि वुमन सीईओ चाहिँ जुन दिन सिलेक्ट हुन्छ अथवा कुनै कम्पनीको सीईओ वुमन आउने बित्तिकै त्यहाँको शेयर मार्केट चाहिँ अर्को दिनबाट घट्न थाल्छ अरे भनेको मतलब त्यहाँ पनि अहिले वुमन्सको डिस्क्रिमिनेसनको सवाल त्यतिकै छ अब नेपालमा त हुने नै भइहाल्यो त्यसले गर्दाखेरि यो ठूलो क्वेशन मार्क छ हामी यति धेरै कुराहरु गरिदिँदाखेरि यति धेरै वुमन एम्पावरमेन्टको लागि संस्थाहरु हुँदाखेरि पनि हामीले चाहे जस्तो रिजल्ट आज पनि प्राप्त गर्न सकेको छैनौं त्यही भएर मैले यसलाई क्वेशन मार्कको रूपमा राखे के हो त जिस्ट के हो त न्यू आइडिया जस्ट वुमन एम्पावरमेन्ट गर्न सकोस् त्यसले गर्दाखेरि मैले जहिले पनि आफ्नो प्रेजेन्टेसनमा यो दुईटा कुरा चाहिँ भन्ने गर्छु इट अलवेज सिम्स इम्पोसिबल अन्टिल इट्स डन हैन जबसम्म जुनसुकै काम पनि नगर्दासम्म असम्भव हुन्छ त्यही भएर वुमन एम्पावरमेन्टको कुरा गरिरहेछौं त्यो काम जुन चाहिँ अब हामीले आफ्नो घरबाट आफूबाट सुरु गर्यौं भने आफ्नो घरबाट सुरुवात गर्यौं हाम्रो समाजबाट सुरुवात गर्यौं र वुमनलाई इकोनोमिक एक्टिभिटिजमा पार्टिसिपेसनमा उहाँहरुको चाहिँ डेभलपमेन्ट सेक्टरमा उहाँहरुको प्रोडक्सन सेक्टरमा कुन सेक्टरमा हुन्छ उहाँलाई एम्पावर गर्दै गयौं भने उहाँहरुको एम्पावरमेन्ट सम्भव छ त्यो सम्भव गरेर मात्रै हामीले सोसाइटीको डेभलपमेन्ट गर्न सक्छौं र अर्को कुरा के छ अ जर्नी अफ 1000 माइल्स बिगिन विथ अ सिंगल स्टेप भन्नुहुन्छ चाइनिज प्रोभर्ब पनि छ यो अब आजको डेबाट हामीले जुन प्रोग्राम गरिरहेछौं जुन इन्टरेक्सन गरिरहेछौं यहाँबाट नै सुरुवात गरौं हामीले बोलीमा मात्र हैन व्यवहारमा पनि वुमन एम्पावरमेन्टको लागि वुमनको डिस्क्रिमिनेसन जुन समाजमा विद्यमान छ त्यसलाई त्याग्नको लागि हामीले कामहरु गर्नुपर्छ भन्ने लाग्छ अब यसका धेरै पर्सपेक्टिभहरु छ वुमन एम्पावरमेन्टको हामीले सुन्दै र बोल्दै आएका विषय पनि छन् र भोग्दै आएका विषयहरु पनि छन् वुमन एम्पावरमेन्ट भन्ने बित्तिकै सबैतिरको इन्भल्भमेन्ट, सबैतिरको डेभलपमेन्ट बढाउने कुरा, पोलिटिकल होस्, चाहे त्यो लिगल होस्, सोसियल होस्, एजुकेसनल होस्, अथवा इकोनोमिक एक्टिभिटिजमा होस्, वुमेनहरूलाई इम्पावरमेन्ट गर्ने, स्ट्रेन्थन गर्ने र वुमेनहरूको इन्भल्भमेन्टलाई चाहिँ बढाउँदै उहाँहरूको डिसिजन मेकिङ पावर पनि बढाउँदै गइयो भने बल्ल वुमन इम्पावरमेन्ट हुन्छ जस्तो मलाई लाग्छ। र यसमा अब धेरै कुराहरू छन्, जेन्डर इक्वालिटी भन्छौँ हामी, वुमेन र मेन बिचको रिलेसनसिपको कुरा गर्छौँ। यहाँ धेरै कुरा हुन त गभर्मेन्टको अहिलेको संविधानले पनि वुमनलाई, महिलालाई चाहिँ उहाँहरूको अधिकारको विषयहरू छ, उहाँको एक्सेसको विषय छ, तर अब समाजमा हामी के देख्छौँ त भन्दाखेरि त्यसको राम्रोसँग एप्लाई भएको पाउँदैनौँ। चाहे त्यो अधिकारको कुरा छ, चाहे रेस्पोन्सिबिलिटीको कुरा छ, चाहे त्यो परिणामको कुरा, रिजल्टको कुरा नै किन नहोस्, त्यही भएर यो 3 डाइमेन्सनमा राइट, रेस्पोन्सिबिलिटी र रिजल्टको दायराबाट हामीले वुमनको इम्पावरमेन्टलाई सोध्नुपर्ने बेला आएको छ र यो कुराहरू गऱ्यौँ भने मात्रै जेन्डर इक्वालिटी सम्भव हुन्छ भन्ने मलाई लाग्छ। अब नेपालमा वुमनको कुरा गर्दाखेरि हामी महिलालाई एकजना चाहिँ देउताको रूपले पनि हेर्छौँ, महिलालाई चाहिँ हामीले देवीको रूपले पनि हेर्छौँ, तर त्यो खालको पोजिसन अब त्यो कतिपय व्यवहारमा चाहिँ त्यो देखिन्न हैन। भन्न त हामी देवी भन्छौँ, तर त्यो इम्पावरमेन्टको हिसाबले भन्यो भने त्यो खालको पोजिसन होल्ड गरेको जस्तो लाग्दैन, किनभने वुमेनहरू आज पनि डिप्राइभ अफ डिसिसन मेकिङ पावर, फ्रिडम अफ वुमेनमा पनि चाहिँ त्यहाँनिर त्यति धेरै चाहे जस्तै हैन, रातको 10 बजी पनि इजिली एक्सेस गरेर म चाहिँ ढुक्कको साथ चाहिँ म हिँड्न सक्छु भन्ने पनि छैन। एक्सेस टु एजुकेसन, हुन त सिटी एरियामा अहिले एजुकेसनको एक्सेस मेल र फिमेल बराबर जस्तै छ, तर हामी रिमोट एरियामा गयौँ भने आज पनि एजुकेसन नपाएर कति महिलाहरू बिचैमा छोड्नेदेखि लिएर अर्ली चाइल्ड म्यारेजदेखि लिएर विभिन्न समस्याहरू छ। सिमिलरली एक्सेस टु इम्प्लोइमेन्टको पनि समस्या छ। पोजिसनको त मैले अहिले भनिहालेँ, अमेरिकाको सम्म त्यहाँ समस्या छ भने चाहिँ नेपालमा त छँदैछ। एक्टिभ रोल अथवा चाहिँ एकदमै नेपालको डिसिसन मेकिङ खालको चाहिँ जति पनि पोजिसनहरूमा वुमनको इन्भल्भमेन्ट, वुमेनको पार्टिसिपेसन कम छ। सिमिलरली मिडिया सेक्टरमा पनि त्यही छ। अब वुमनको क्राइम, हामीले घरेलु हिंसादेखि कुरा गर्न सक्छौँ, एसिड आक्रमणको विषयहरू जल्दोबल्दो छ, रिपिटली आइरहेछ। रेपको त 32 केसेसहरू छ अझै यो कोभिड आएपछि त हैन, घरमै सुरक्षित छैन भनेपछि यी धेरै कुराहरू वुमन इम्पावरमेन्टसँग जोडिएर आएको छ। त्यसले गर्दाखेरि पनि यी सबै कुराहरू समाधान गर्नको लागि पनि वी निड वुमन इम्पावरमेन्ट। अब त्यो कसरी गर्ने भन्ने कुरा अब हामीले सोध्नुपर्ने बेला आएको छ। सबैभन्दा पहिला त मैले के भन्छु भन्दाखेरि जबसम्म हाम्रो मानसिकता, माइन्डसेट चेन्ज हुँदैन तबसम्म हामीले वुमन इम्पावरमेन्ट परिकल्पना गर्न सक्दैनौँ। सबैभन्दा पहिला हाम्रो माइन्डसेटबाट सुरुवात हुनुपर्छ। त्यही भएर मैले मानसिक पुनर्संरचना हुनुपर्छ भन्छु हैन। राज्यको पुनर्संरचनाको कुरा गरिरहेको छौँ, अन्य पुनर्संरचनाको कुरा गरिरहेको छौँ, तर जबसम्म मानसिक पुनर्संरचना हुँदैन त्यहाँबाट सुरुवात नभएसम्म वुमनको इम्पावरमेन्ट सुरुवात हुन्छ जस्तो लाग्दैन। त्यही भएर सबैभन्दा तपाईँ हाम्रो माइन्डसेट बदलिनु पर्यो। त्यसपछि त्यसमा माइन्डसेट बदलिनु भनेको त्यो एजुकेसन थ्रु हुनसक्छ, अवेरनेस क्याम्पेन थ्रु हुनसक्छ, अथवा आफ्नो भित्र मनमा लागेपछि अब चाहिँ सुरुवात गर्नुपर्छ है, मैले मेरो घरमा भइरहेको विभेदलाई रोक्नुपर्छ, मैले समाजमा भइरहेको विभेदलाई रोक्नुपर्छ भन्ने तरिकाले हामी गयौँ भने त्यो पोसिबल हुन्छ जस्तो लाग्छ। र सँगसँगै अब जस्टिसको कुरा छ, वुमन इम्पावरमेन्ट सोसल जस्टिससँग जोडिएर आउँछ। त्यो भनेको सोसल ट्रान्सफर्मेसन अथवा सामाजिक रूपान्तरणको लागि पनि वुमन इम्पावरमेन्ट जरुरी छ। अब त्यो के थ्रु हामीले हासिल गर्न सक्छौँ भन्दाखेरि अहिले जुन समावेशिताको कुरा आएको छ, इन्क्लुसिभनेसको कुरा आएको छ, वुमनलाई चाहिँ राज्यका सबै अङ्गमा, राज्य तपाईँको चाहिँ सरकारी या गैर सरकारी या प्राइभेट सेक्टर सबै सेक्टरमा उहाँहरूको इन्भल्भमेन्टलाई, लिडरसिपलाई चाहिँ हामीले स्वीकार गरेर त्यही खालको इम्पावरमेन्ट गरेर गयौँ भने अनि आगामी पिँढीले पनि सिक्दै र बुझ्दै जानेछ अनि हामी पनि बराबरी रहेछौँ है, हामी पनि कुनै पनि हिसाबले चाहिँ फरक रहेनछौँ अथवा कमजोर रहेनछौँ भन्ने त्यो फिलिङ्स दिलाउनु जरुरी छ। सिमिलरली अब वुमेनहरूको क्यापेसिटी डेभलपमेन्ट गर्नु जरुरी छ। हामीले क्यापेसिटी डेभलपमेन्ट त्यत्तिकै हुँदैन, उहाँहरूलाई फिल्डमा नल्याइकन उहाँहरूको क्यापेसिटीलाई चाहिँ बुझेर जानेर उहाँहरूको प्रतिभा प्रस्फुटन नगराइकन क्यापेसिटी डेभलपमेन्ट हुँदैन। अब त्यसको लागि ट्रेनिङहरू हामीले अर्गनाइज गर्न सक्छौँ। त्यो भोकेसनल हुनसक्छ, त्यो मोटिभेसनल हुनसक्छ, त्यो सब स्किलसँग सम्बन्धित हुनसक्छ। सिमिलरली उहाँको स्किल डेभलपमेन्ट गर्न सक्छौँ हामी। विभिन्न स्किमहरू, गभर्मेन्ट नन गभर्मेन्ट अर्गनाइजेसनल स्किमहरू वुमेन इम्पावरमेन्टको लागि त्यो दिन सक्छौँ र उहाँहरूलाई सेल्फ इम्पावर पनि गर्न सक्छौँ। एन्टरप्रेनरसिपको चाहिँ विभिन्न मोडेलहरू एप्लाई गर्न सक्छौँ। सानो सानो कुराहरूबाट उहाँहरूको इकोनोमिक एक्टिभिटिजमा उहाँहरूको चाहिँ पार्टिसिपेसन बढायौँ भने, उहाँहरूको चाहिँ डिसिजन मेकिङ पावर बढायौँ भने, उहाँहरूको सबै सेक्टरमा इन्भल्भमेन्ट बढायौँ भने बल्ल वुमेन इम्पावरमेन्ट हुन्छ। सिमिलरली अब वुमेन इम्पावरमेन्टको विषयमा हामी कुरा गर्दै गर्दा अर्को के पाउँछौँ भन्दाखेरि वुमेन बिचमै पनि चाहिँ त्यहाँ चाहिँ वुमेनलाई अगाडि बढाउने सवालमा कन्फ्लिक्टहरू छ। घरमा सासू हुनुहुन्छ तर त्यही बुहारीलाई अगाडि बढ्नलाई सासू नै बाधक हुन्छ होइन। यो हामीले देख्दै आएको कुरा हो, एउटा इक्जाम्पल मात्र हो। त्यसले गर्दाखेरि वुमन बिचमा भएको कन्फ्लिक्टलाई पनि अब म्यानेज गर्नु जरुरी छ। हामीले त्यसको सुरुवात घरबाट, टोलबाट, समाजबाट हुनु जरुरी छ। त्यही भएर कन्फ्लिक्ट म्यानेजमेन्ट बिट्विन वुमेन्स ग्रुप भन्छु मैले, त्यो चाहे इन्डिभिजुअल होस् चाहे त्यो सोसाइटीको हिसाबले होस्, त्यो पनि हामीले म्यानेज गर्नु छ। र सिमिलरली अहिले सबैभन्दा अहिलेको युग भनेको साइन्स एन्ड टेक्नोलोजीको युग हो। हामी जहाँ जाँदाखेरि पनि अब टेक्नोलोजी बिना त हाम्रो जीवन होइन अपुरो हुने अवस्था छ। सो अब डिजिटाइजेसन अफ वुमेन, त्यसको लागि सबैभन्दा पहिला त अहिले एक्जिस्टिङ जति पनि डिजिटल इक्विपमेन्टहरू छ, डिजिटल प्लेटफर्महरू छ, त्यसमा चाहिँ वुमनको एक्सेस गराउन जरुरी छ। उहाँहरूलाई त्यो सिकाउन जरुरी छ। वुमनहरूलाई डिजिटलाइजेसनको चाहिँ लिटरेसीको जरुरी छ। सबभन्दा पहिला साक्षरता भयो भन्ने मात्रै उहाँले चाहिँ त्यो डिजिटल इक्विपमेन्टहरू चलाउन सक्नुहुन्छ, त्यसको इन्भल्भमेन्ट बढी हुनसक्छ। र सिमिलरली सबै कुराहरूको डेभलपमेन्ट गरिसके पछाडि रेगुलर अपडेट र अपग्रेडको सिस्टम हुनु जरुरी छ। किनभने अपडेटेड र अपग्रेडेड भइएन भने आउटडेटेड भइन्छ। त्यही भएर यी कुराहरू चाहिँ वुमन इम्पावरमेन्टको लागि जरुरी जस्तो लाग्छ। अब मैले वुमन इम्पावरमेन्टको लागि सबैभन्दा फोकस्ड गरेर बोल्ने विषय भनेको साइन्स बेस्ड अप्रोचमा नगएसम्म वुमन इम्पावरमेन्ट हुन्छ जस्तो मलाई लाग्दैन। किनभने त्यहाँ ब्यारियरहरू छ होइन, रिलिजियस ब्यारियर छ, कल्चरल ब्यारियर छ, सोसल ब्यारियर छ, मेन्टल ब्यारियर छ। त्यही भएर अब सबै सेक्टरमा साइन्स बेस्ड अप्रोच हामीले अपनायौँ भने बल्ल चाहिँ हामी वुमन इम्पावरमेन्ट सुरुवात हुन सक्छ। त्यसको लागि हामीले अब जति पनि हाम्रा अन्धविश्वास, रूढिवादहरू छ त्यसलाई त्याग्न सक्नु पर्यो। जति पनि हाम्रो चाहिँ सोसल ब्यारियरहरू छ वुमन इम्पावरमेन्टको लागि त्यसलाई हामीले त्याग्न सक्नु पर्यो। र सबभन्दा फर्स्टमा सोसल इम्पावरमेन्ट, इकोनोमिक इम्पावरमेन्ट, पोलिटिकल इम्पावरमेन्ट, कल्चरल इम्पावरमेन्ट यो हुन जरुरी छ। र साइन्स बेस्ड अप्रोच भनेको अहिले हामीले जे जति संस्कारहरू सिकिरहेछौँ अथवा जे जति संस्कारहरू हाम्रो डेली लाइफमा एजुकेसन भइरहेछ, त्यो संस्कारबाट हामी बाहिर आएर साइन्टिफिक कल्चर, मैले एकदम फोकस गरेर भन्न चाहेँ, जबसम्म हामी साइन्टिफिक कल्चर अपनाउन सक्दैनौँ नि तबसम्म वुमन इम्पावरमेन्ट हुन्छ जस्तो लाग्दैन। हामी अहिले हुन त अब यो धर्म संस्कृतिको विरोध गर्ने कुरा होइन, तर कतिपय कुराहरू हाम्रो धर्म र संस्कृतिले पनि वुमन इम्पावरमेन्टलाई रोकिरहेको जस्तो मलाई लाग्छ। त्यही भएर त्यसलाई पनि हामीले ख्याल गर्दै एउटा कल्चरल र रिलिजियस अथवा जति पनि हाम्रो चाहिँ अन्धविश्वासपूर्ण कतिपय छन्, हुन त त्यहाँ पनि राम्रा पक्षहरू छन्, त्यो राम्रो पक्षलाई ग्रहण गर्दै त्यो भित्र भएका धर्म र संस्कृतिभित्र भएका नराम्रा पक्षहरूलाई हामीले साइन्टिफिक रूपमा चाहिँ एउटा चाहिँ नयाँ कल्चर बसाउन पनि जरुरी छ भन्ने मलाई लाग्छ। र त्यसको लागि वुमनको लिडरसिप डेभलपमेन्ट गर्नु जरुरी छ। हरेक सेक्टरमा त्यो सानो सानो बच्चादेखि नै हामीले त्यो सुरुवात गर्न जरुरी छ। त्यसको लागि वुमनलाई चाहिँ हामीले रेस्पोन्सिबिलिटी दिएनौँ भने, वुमनलाई विश्वास गरेनौँ भने त त्यो सम्भवै छैन। त्यही भएर घरको मेरो छोरीलाई विश्वास गर्नु पर्यो, मेरो बहिनीलाई विश्वास गर्नु पर्यो, मेरो दिदीलाई विश्वास गर्नु पर्यो, मेरो आमालाई विश्वास गर्नु पर्यो, अथवा समाजमा भएका मेरा सबै दिदी बहिनीलाई विश्वास गर्नु पर्यो। विश्वास गर्यो भने मात्र उहाँहरूको लिडरसिप हुन्छ। त्यसको लागि हामीले स्मार्ट वुमेनको परिकल्पना गर्न सक्छौँ। स्मार्ट वुमेन त्यत्तिकै हुँदैन, उहाँहरूको पर्सनल डेभलपमेन्ट गरिएन भने त्यो सम्भव छैन, उहाँहरूको प्रोफेसनल डेभलपमेन्ट गरिएन भने सम्भव छैन। र सँगसँगै इन्स्टिट्युसनलाइज गरिएन अथवा इन्स्टिट्युसन डेभलपमेन्ट गरिएन भने पनि सम्भव छैन। सो यसको लागि अब डेभलपमेन्ट मात्र गरेर भएन, त्यो त अर्कोले पनि थाहा पाउनु पर्यो नि, सँगसँगै ब्रान्डिङ पनि गर्नु छ। त्यही भएर मैले यहाँ 3टा कुरा राखेको छु, पर्सनल डेभलपमेन्ट एन्ड ब्रान्डिङ, प्रोफेसनल डेभलपमेन्ट एन्ड ब्रान्डिङ सँगसँगै गर्दै जानु पर्यो। जबकि त्यो नमुनालाई लिएर अरू मान्छेले पनि सिक्दै जान सक्छ। अब त्यही भएर जेन्डर पर्सपेक्टिभ भन्छु मैले, यहाँनिर हेर्ने हाम्रो आँखा होइन, यहाँनिर मैले 2टा लेन्स, जेन्डर लेन्स पनि भन्न सक्छौँ हामीले होइन। अब बोल्दाखेरि हेर्दाखेरि त त्यो बराबर देखिन्छ, तर व्यवहारमा बराबर देखिएन भने त्यो सम्भव छैन। वुमन इम्पावरमेन्ट सम्भव छैन, जेन्डर इक्वालिटी सम्भव छैन। त्यही भएर चस्माले हेर्ने आँखा र हाम्रो भित्र हेर्ने आँखा सेम हुनु पर्यो होइन। चस्माले त उही देखाउँछ कुराहरू, त्यसले गर्दा यो जेन्डर पर्सपेक्टिभ अथवा जेन्डर लेन्स पनि हाम्रो हुनु पर्यो भन्ने मलाई लाग्छ। र अब डिजिटलाइजेसन पनि हाम्रो अर्को टपिक भएको कारणले गर्दाखेरि मैले एकदम छोटोमा, समयको पाबन्दी पनि छ, मलाई दिएको समय लगभग सकिन लागिसकेको जस्तो लाग्छ। त्यही भएर मैले छोटोमा भन्न चाहन्छु, मैले 3वटा कुरा गरेको छु। डिजिटलाइजेसन फर वुमेनको रोडम्याप के हो त, सबभन्दा फर्स्टमा वुमन फ्रेन्डली डिजिटल इन्फ्रास्ट्रक्चर हामीले क्रिएट गर्न सक्नुपर्छ। आज पनि चाहिँ घरेलु महिलाहरू अथवा ग्रामीण महिलाहरू कृषिमा उहाँहरू चाहिँ इन्भल्भमेन्ट हुनुहुन्छ। त्यो कृषिसँग सम्बन्धित हामीले डिजिटल इक्विपमेन्टहरू बनायौँ भने सँगसँगै चाहिँ उहाँहरूले इजी उहाँहरूको चाहिँ लाइफ एक्सेस इजी हुनसक्छ, उहाँहरूको चाहिँ विभिन्न उत्पादनसँग जोडिन सक्नुहुन्छ, त्यो खालको भन्नुपर्छ। त्यसै गरी इन्डस्ट्रीको कुराहरू छ, टुरिज्मको कुरा छ, एजुकेसनको कुरा छ, जति पनि सेक्टरहरू छ त्योसँग सम्बन्धित डिजिटल इक्विपमेन्टहरू हामीले वुमन फ्रेन्डली बनाउन सक्नुपर्छ। र अब त्यो बनाएर मात्र हुँदैन, वुमनको लागि त्यो इम्पावरमेन्टको लागि चाहिँ हामीले उहाँलाई साक्षरता ट्रेनिङ त्यो चलाउन कसरी सकिन्छ त भनेर सिकाउन जरुरी छ। र सँगसँगै डिजिटल गभर्नेन्सको कुराहरू पनि छ। त्यसको लागि सबभन्दा फर्स्टमा वी निड डिजिटल प्लान, डिजिटल टिम, डिजिटल प्लेटफर्म्स, अनि त्यति मात्र भएर भएन, डिजिटल एक्सेस पनि हामीले दियौँ भने मात्रै वुमनको डिजिटल्ली इम्पावरमेन्ट सम्भव छ जस्तो मलाई लाग्छ। त्यसको लागि हैन अब हामीले छुट्टै थिङ्क ट्याङ्क र डु ट्याङ्क र यो दुईटा ट्याङ्कहरूको बिचको चाहिँ हामीले एउटा रिलेसनसिप अथवा दुईटा ट्याङ्कहरूको एउटा चाहिँ जोइनिङ कोलाबोरेसन चाहिँ गरायौँ भने मात्र चाहिँ हामीले डिजिटल इम्पावरमेन्ट फर वुमेन हासिल गर्न सक्छौँ जस्तो लाग्छ। त्यही भएर अब इक्वल प्रोग्रेसन अफ मेन एन्ड वुमन दुवैलाई बराबरी चाहिँ हामीले एउटा अग्रगतिमा लानको लागि मबाट सुरुवात गर्नुपर्छ। सबभन्दा पहिला आफूबाटै सुरुवात भएन भने त्यो सम्भव छैन। हामी वुमन इम्पावरमेन्ट बाहिर भन्दै गर्छौँ तर घरभित्रै हिंसा छ, घरभित्रै वुमनलाई चाहिँ दबाइएको छ भने त्यो सम्भव हुँदैन। त्यसपछि हामी उहीमा पुग्नु पर्यो, फ्यामिलीभित्र त्यो खालको इक्वल एक्सेस, डिस्क्रिमिनेसनको चाहिँ हामीले चाहिँ विरोध गर्ने, डिस्क्रिमिनेसन नै हुनै नदिने त्यतातिर जानु पर्यो। त्यसपछि कम्युनिटी लेभलमा जानु पर्यो, होल सिस्टम अफ कन्ट्री वुमन फ्रेन्डली हुनु पर्यो। त्यसपछि बल्ल अनि इन्टरनेसनल सोसाइटीमा हामी पुग्न सक्छौँ र त्यो खालको एचिभमेन्ट हुन्छ जस्तो लाग्छ। र जिस्टमा आजको जति पनि मैले कुराहरू गरेँ त्यसको जिस्टमा के भन्न चाहन्छु, वुमन इम्पावरमेन्ट तबसम्म प्राप्त हुन सक्दैन जबसम्म हामीले लिमिटेसनहरूलाई ब्रेक गर्न सक्दैनौँ। त्यही भएर एउटै यो रहेछ, ब्रेक द लिमिटेसन्स। हाम्रो लिमिटेसनहरू छ हैन, मेन्टल लिमिटेसन छ, कहाँ सक्ने र मैले त, कहाँ सक्छु र मैले त, कहाँ सम्भव छ र भन्ने छ। त्यसै गरी हाम्रो अहिले मैले भने कल्चर र रिलिजियस लिमिटेसन्सहरू छ, त्यो ब्रेक गर्न सक्नु पर्यो। त्यसै गरी हाम्रो चाहिँ अन्य खालका लिमिटेसन्सहरू छन् हैन, जसले चाहिँ वुमेनलाई जान अगाडि बढ्न दिँदैन। सोसल लिमिटेसनहरू छ, समाजले एउटा चाहिँ दायरा बनाइरहेको छ कि कहाँसम्म वुमेन जाने भनेर। अनि त्यसको नजरबाट हेऱ्यो, त्यो आँखाबाट हेऱ्यो भने त वुमन कहिले पनि इम्पावर हुन सक्दैन। भनेपछि त्यहाँको बारियरहरूलाई पनि ब्रेक गर्न सक्नु पर्यो। र अनि मात्रै फिजिकल बारियरहरू पनि छन्, कहाँ अब पुरुष त मभन्दा धेरै पो शक्तिशाली छ त उसँग त म कहाँ भ्याउँछु त नि भन्ने डर लाग्ने कन्डिसन छ हैन। भौतिक लिमिटेसन्सहरू पनि छ महिलाको, त्यसलाई नि ब्रेक गर्न सक्नु पर्यो। एउटा खालको छुट्टै हैन, छुट्टै एउटा फिलिङ, छुट्टै एउटा चाहिँ शक्ति भित्रबाट चाहिँ एउटा चाहिँ इन्टरनल पावर निकाल्यो भने महिलाले पुरुषभन्दा 100 गुणा अगाडि, 100 गुणा राम्रो, 100 गुणा चाहिँ इफेक्टिभ काम गर्न सक्छ भन्ने मलाई लाग्छ। त्यसको लागि सबैजनाले आजैबाट हामीले हाम्रो माइन्डसेटको प्रोग्रामिङ गर्न जरुरी छ। रिप्रोग्रामिङ नगरिकन पुरानै भर्सन, हाम्रो माइन्डको जुन पुरानै भर्सन छ त्यो भर्सनले हामीलाई धेरै इम्पावरमेन्टमा जान दिन्छ जस्तो मलाई लाग्दैन। त्यही भएर सबभन्दा फर्स्टमा वी निड रिप्रोग्रामिङ आवर माइन्डसेट। त्यसपछि हाम्रो डेली लाइफलाई रिडिजाइन गर्यौँ भने अनि बल्ल हैन, रिडिजाइन गर्ने बित्तिकै त्यहाँ अहिलेसम्म भएको एक्जिस्टिङ जति पनि प्र्याक्टिसेसहरू छन् त्यसलाई पनि नयाँ डिजाइनमा लैन्छ नि त। त्यो नयाँ डिजाइनले के ल्याउँछ त भन्दाखेरि अब नयाँ कुरा ल्याउँछ, साइन्स बेस्ड एप्रोचमा हामी पुग्न सक्छौँ, साइन्टिफिक कल्चरको जन्म हुनसक्छ। अनि यी सबै नयाँ कल्चरले, राम्रा कल्चरले वुमनको इम्पावरमेन्टलाई सायद राम्रैसँग चाहिँ एउटा इम्पावर गर्ने मोटिभेसन जागृत हुन्छ र हामी त्यहाँ पुग्छौँ भन्ने मलाई लाग्छ। यति भन्दै मेरो छोटो प्रेजेन्टेसन यहीँ सम्पन्न गर्न चाहन्छु। सबैलाई नमस्ते, धन्यवाद, थ्याङ्क यू सो मच।
Thank you, sir. It's true that the change should begin from home when it comes to giving opportunities to the women, which might also break the limitation. And we hope this change will be practiced in everyone's home in the days to come. घर समाज साथसाथै देशमा यो चेन्ज चाहिँ लागू हुनुपर्नेछ भन्ने कुरामा हामी विश्वास गर्दछौँ। Thank you, sir. Now moving ahead, actually we have Ms. Saru Joshi Shrestha in the speakers list, but she could not attend the webinar due to her health condition. However, we are very pleased and thankful that Ms. Sapna Karong has consented to be a panelist in today's webinar at our request. May I therefore present our second panelist, Ms. Sapna Karong, former founder, president, and now advisor of NEMUN, Nepalese Migrant Unity Network. She holds a bachelor degree in sociology from TU. She is an activist for safe migration practice and directly involved in helping distressed Nepalese migrant workers through various platforms for the past 17 years. She has wide knowledge on the issue of women's empowerment and gender equality. Besides, she is involved in human rights journalism as well as equally involved in advocating for safe migration through media. She serves as a founding central member of Jagran Media Center, volunteered with NIDS and NNFSM. Currently, she is based in Malaysia and working with Malaysian-based social organization for the cause. Involved in labor and ethic auditing team of Varied Southeast Asia, IEC consultant for PNCC Malaysia, editor of Nepalese News Portal. Now, may I invite Ms. Sapna Karong for our presentation. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Anisha ji, for such a nice introduction of myself. I'm like not used to hearing it. Thank you so much. And yeah, as Anishma ji has just expressed that I am directly involved in helping the distressed Nepalese migrant. I would like to base my presentation in that area as well. And I am very pleased to be part of this panel team. Thank you, CCD, for this opportunity. And I know Sarudi would do much more better than me. She has even wider perspective, wider experience in this area. However, she couldn't come, but I'm glad that some of the voices from this side will be, I hope that will be brought into this panel, this webinar today. So I am actually directly involved in helping the Nepalese migrants here, and also I am a social auditor for the Verite International. I got to know the very all the situation of the scenario of the Nepalese migrants in Gulf countries and also in Malaysia. So I'm focusing more there. Maybe now onwards I will speak in Nepali. Yeah. Can you मेरो देखिरहनु भएको छ नि है अनि मलेसियाको कन्टेक्स्टमा नेपाली लेडिज माइग्रेन्टहरु अथवा महिला प्रवासीहरुको कामदारहरुको अवस्थालाई हेर्दाखेरि चाहिँ विशेष गरेर ओभरअल कामदारहरुको अवस्थाहरुमा नै धेरै गर्नुपर्ने काम छ भने महिलाहरु त झन् धेरै उहाँहरुले आफ्नो गाउँदेखि यहाँ आउँदासम्म थुप्रै उहाँहरुले तगारोहरु पार गरेर आउनु भएको हुन्छ। त्यसकारण उहाँको त्यही खालको उहाँहरुको जीवनमा त्यही खालको समस्याहरु छ। अब डिजिटलाइजेसनको कुरा गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ हाम्रो वुमनहरु चाहिँ हातमा सबैको मोबाइल छ अनि त्यसपछि हामीले उहाँहरुको समस्यामा चाहिँ कसरी सहयोग गर्ने भन्ने अवस्थामा डिजिटलाइजेसनले चाहिँ कसरी सहयोग गरेको छ भनेको प्रत्यक्ष रूपमा उहाँहरुसँग डिल गर्दाको केही स्टोरीहरु चाहिँ कथाहरु म तपाईको बीचमा ल्याउन चाहन्छु। अनि यी महिला हुनुहुन्छ, उहाँ चाहिँ मलेसियामा धेरै वर्ष बस्दाखेरि विभिन्न अवस्थामा उहाँ सिंगल मदर हुनु भएर एक्लै हुनुभयो र एकल महिला भएर छोरा एउटा एकदमै दुःख दयनीय अवस्थाले एउटा चौरको छेउमा दिन बिताइरहनु भएको रहेछ। अनि हामीले उहाँको बारेमा थाहा पायौं अनि यो कुरालाई हामीले कता हो कसो हो भन्दाखेरि उहाँले त्यति चासो दिनु भएन, उहाँको मानसिक अवस्था पनि त्यति अब राम्रो थिएन। त्यसकारणले हामीले मिडियाहरुमा यो केसहरु लैसकेपछि चाहिँ हामीले उहाँलाई उहाँलाई त्यहाँबाट नेपाल रेस्क्यु गर्न सक्यौँ। अनि नेपाली प्रवासी एकता सञ्जाल जुन हाम्रो संस्थाले उहाँलाई रिसिभ गरेर अनि त्यही अनुसारको काउन्सिलिङहरू दिन सक्यौँ। अनि यो केस चाहिँ धेरै चुनौतीपूर्ण केस थियो। उहाँको आफन्त भेटाउनु पर्नेदेखि लिएर अनि उहाँलाई के गर्ने कसो गर्ने, तर ठुलो यसमा ठुलो हाम्रो यहाँ भएका संस्था सङ्घ संस्था र हाम्रो एनआरएनएका हाम्रो सुभद्रा कुमारी लिम्बूले पनि धेरै सहयोग गरेर उहाँले व्यक्तिगत रूपमा र मलेसियनहरूको सहयोगमा चाहिँ उहाँलाई नेपाल पठाउन सकियो। अनि यसमा चाहिँ डिजिटलाइजेसनले चाहिँ ठुलो भूमिका खेल्यो। उहाँ जस्तो कुनामा कोचिएर एकदमै ओझेलमा बसेकाहरूलाई लिएर आउनको लागि। अनि अर्को कुरो चाहिँ हामीले यहाँ धेरै यो ट्राफिकिङको केसहरूमा रेस्क्युको केसहरू पनि मैले हेर्नु परेको थियो। अनि यी बहिनीले चाहिँ मलाई एकदमै डिस्ट्रेसको अवस्थामा फोन गरे, तर उहाँलाई चाहिँ हामीले रेस्क्यु गर्न सक्यौँ। मैले यहाँको लोकल एनजिओसँग मिलेर पुलिसलाई भेटाएर अनि उहाँलाई घरबाट रेस्क्यु गरियो। यी बहिनीले चाहिँ व्हाट्सएप प्रयोग गर्न जान्दै रहेछन्। अनि उहाँले त्यो करेन्ट लोकेसन कहाँ छ के छ सबै कोअर्डिनेसन गरेको कारणले हामीले उहाँलाई बचाउन एक भन्नाले रेस्क्यु गर्न सक्यौँ। तर दुःखको कुरो चाहिँ बहिनीलाई कतिपय कुरोहरू थाहा रहेनछ। यो यहाँ के अरे श्रम स्वीकृति लिएर आउनुपर्छ, उहाँको ट्राफिकरहरूले उहाँलाई इन्डिया भउँदै ल्याएको रहेछ, उहाँ 16 वर्षभन्दा तलकै पासपोर्ट बोकिरहनु भएको रहेछ। त्यस्तो कुरोहरू उहाँलाई कति थाहा रहेनछ, त्यो दुःखदको कुरा। तर उहाँलाई यो डिजिटलाइजेसन जुन उहाँसँग स्मार्टफोन भएको कारणले उहाँलाई हामीले छुटाउन सक्यौँ। अब यो अर्को केस चाहिँ खास पुरुष हुनुहुन्छ, तर कतिपय ठाउँहरूमा पुरुष र महिलाहरूको केसमा त्यति धेरै फरक पर्दैन। यो देशमा मैले काम गरेको देशमा यो भाइ पनि धेरै रोड भौतारिएर हिँड्नु भएको रहेछ। अनि त्यो अवस्थामा यहाँको मलेसियाको लोकल प्रेसले चाहिँ यो पोस्ट गरिदिएपछि अनि हामीले उहाँलाई धेरै दुःख गरेर भेटाएर अनि दुःख नै गरेर तर घर पठायौँ। हाम्रो तलकोमा चाहिँ उहाँ साह्रै हिरो भएर हाम्रो नेपाली प्रवासी एकता सञ्जालको स्टाफहरूसँग हुनुहुन्छ। अनि यस्ता केसहरू चाहिँ डिजिटलाइजेसनले हामीलाई दिएको अपर्च्युनिटी हो। हामी जस्तो यहाँ बसेर केही सहयोग गर्न चाहने एडभोकेटहरूको लागि हामी जस्तोहरूलाई चाहिँ सहयोगको कुरा छ। तर सधैँ चाहिँ हामीलाई यो अहिलेको अवस्था चाहिँ अति भइसकेर अब यहाँभन्दा गर्न नसक्ने अवस्थाहरूमा चाहिँ उहाँहरू यस्तो मिडियाहरू युज गरेर आउनुहुन्छ। त्यसकारण चाहिँ डिजिटलाइजेसनले चाहिँ धेरै माइग्रेन्टहरूलाई चाहिँ उहाँहरूको आवाजहरू पुर्याउनलाई चाहिँ सहयोग गरेको छ। जस्तै सोसियल मिडिया कहीँ चाहिँ उहाँहरूले आफै नै भिडियो मलाई दुःख पर्यो मलाई आउनुहोस् बचाउनुहोस् भनेका भिडियोहरू हजुरले धेरै देख्नुहुन्छ मिडल इस्टबाट अनि त्यसपछि अरू देशहरूबाट त्यस्ता ठाउँमा। अनि व्हाट्सएपहरू कलहरू अनि त्यो डिजिटल अहिले त फोन गर्दाखेरि छ त्यसरी पैसा धेरै लाग्दैन। जस्तै मेसेन्जरहरू भाइबरहरू इमोहरू चलाएर उहाँहरूले आफ्नो दुःख डिस्ट्रेस एकदमै अति नै दयनीय अवस्थामा चाहिँ हामी कहाँ आउनुहुन्छ। त्यसकारण यस्तो हेर्दाखेरि चाहिँ त्यो डिजिटलाइजेसन चाहिँ आज नेपालिज माइग्रेन्ट विशेष गरी वुमन माइग्रेन्टहरूकोमा चाहिँ लिमिटेड देखिन्छ। जस्तै एकदमै दुःख परेको बेलामा मात्र आउने। त्यसबाहेक अरू उहाँले प्रयोग गर्ने भनेको अब आफ्नो फिलिङ्सहरू फ्रस्ट्रेसनहरू केही स्किलहरू देखाउनलाई अब केही गीतहरू टिकटकहरू अलिक धेरै नै बनाउनुहुन्छ होइन। तर उहाँहरूले चाहिँ यो के अरे डिजिटलाइजेसनमा चाहिँ हामीले यदि एक्सेस छ भने यसमा कसरी सिक्न सकिन्छ, अवेरनेस कसरी गर्न सकिन्छ, बेटर प्रिपेयर्ड कसरी हुन सकिन्छ, इभन इक्विपिङ लेभलमा हामी एम्पावरमेन्ट लेभल अपग्रेडिङ त्यो लेभलमा चाहिँ उहाँहरूले काम गर्न सक्नु भएको छैन है। अनि त्यसमा चाहिँ धेरै नै सङ्घ संस्थाहरूको त्यस्तो गर्नको लागि चाहिँ सङ्घ संस्थाहरूको अहिले खाँचो छ। अनि त्यसपछि अब धेरै हामीले चाहिँ एउटै फोन हो सबैले भेट्ने फल एउटै फोन र हामीले एक्सेस हुने पनि एउटै प्लेटफर्म हो। तर कतिले चाहिँ त्यसैबाट कति सिक्न सक्छन् भने अब हाम्रो नेपालिज माइग्रेन्टहरूले चाहिँ त्यति धेरै उहाँहरूको एक्सेस छैन। जस्तै अब मलेसियामा के अरे विदेशमा बसेर पनि श्रम स्वीकृति अहिले अनलाइन गर्न मिल्ने अवस्था बनाएको छ हाम्रो सरकारले। तर त्यो पहुँच हाम्रो दिदीबहिनीहरू दाजुभाइहरूकोमा पनि नभेटिएको भाइ हो। त्यसकारण दिदीबहिनीहरू पनि कसरी त्यसमा जाने, आइडी कसरी बनाउने, पासवर्ड कसरी बनाउने, अनि त्यसरी उहाँहरूले यदि रिन्यू गर्नुभयो भने उहाँलाई इन्सुरेन्सदेखि लिएर धेरै कुराहरुमा कभर हुन्छ तर त्यो पनि उहाँलाई त्यति एक्सेस छैन अनि कसरी अनलाइन आफ्नो शिकायतहरु राख्ने भन्ने कुराहरु पनि छैन अब यस्ता कुराहरु चाहिँ विभिन्न तत्त्वहरु जस्तै एजुकेसन अब हाम्रो पुरुष प्याट्रियार्कल माइन्डसेट भएको त्यस्तैमा जन्मेको अब तिमीलाई म गर्दिन्छु उसले गर्दिन्छ यो कुरामा म जानी छैन उ जानी छ म टेक्नोलोजी भन्ने कुरा मेरो कुरो होइन भन्ने खालका त्यस्तो माइन्डसेट भएको अनि कतिमा चाहिँ अब रिसोर्सेस पनि नभएको कुरा हुन सक्छ अब त्यस कारणले चाहिँ हामीले विदेशमा आइसकेका महिलाहरूले नेपालको महिलाहरू गाउँको भन्दा धेरै ठाउँमा एक्सपोज भएको अलिकति विदेश देखेको अलिकति अगाडि हुनुहुन्छ कि भनेर चाहिँ हामीले आश गर्छौं तर त्यहाँ पनि धेरै कुराहरू ल्याग भइरहेको छ अब यो एउटा सानो उदाहरण हजुरहरूलाई हामीले के गरिरहेका छौं भनेर चाहिँ अनि हामीले चाहिँ विभिन्न ठाउँमा हाम्रो मलेसियाको कम्तीमा 70-80 वटा ग्रुपहरूको बीचमा कोअर्डिनेट गरेर हामीले काम गर्छौं अनि त्यहाँ उहाँहरूलाई कसरी अगाडि गर्ने वुमेन एम्पावरमेन्ट लिडरशिपहरुमा हामीले ट्रेनिङ गर्छौं अनि अहिले उहाँहरूले चाहिँ जुम चलाउन जानुहुन्छ जुम होस्ट गर्न जानुहुन्छ कतिले चाहिँ यहाँ अस्ति एकजना साथीले भन्नुहुन्थ्यो यहाँबाट त्यो पेन्डेमिकको बेलामा कोठामा बस्न गाह्रो भयो भनेर इंग्लिश सिक्नु भएको रे अनलाइन पैसै तिरेर अनि त्यस्तो खालको अवस्थामा सम्म हामीले ल्याउन सक्यौं भने अपर्च्युनिटी चाहिँ भएको ठाउँ हो अनि हामीले यस्तो कामहरु गरिरहेका छौं अब डिस्पाइट अफ डिजिटलाइजेसन चाहिँ माइग्रेन्टहरुलाई चाहिँ अझै पनि अब हामीले सबै खालका के रे सुरक्षित आप्रवासनको लागि सबै खालका जानकारीहरु चाहिँ उपलब्ध छन् वैदेशिक रोजगार बोर्डका प्रवर्धन बोर्डका त्यसपछि अनि वैदेशिक रोजगार विभागदेखि लिएर सबै ठाउँमा छन् त्यसरी संघ संस्थाहरुको पनि तर त्यहाँ चाहिँ अझै पनि हाम्रो महिला दिदीबहिनीहरुले त्यसको लाभ उठाउन सक्नु भएको छैन अझै पनि उहाँले रिक्रुटमेन्ट तिर आउनुहुन्छ अनि ए तपाईहरुको त नतिर्न पर्ने हो नि सबै भन्यो भने ए जिरो हो र मलाई दे भन्यो दे मैले त भनेर उहाँहरूले के भन्छ पहिलेकै तरिकाले लाखौं तिरेर आउनु भएको अवस्थाहरू यहाँ काममा रहँदा पनि उहाँलाई आफैले कसरी आफ्नो के रे स्यालेरी क्याल्कुलेसन गर्नेदेखि लिएर उहाँहरूको बिदा कति हुन्छ कसरी प्रोसेस गर्ने त्यहाँ भित्र भएका कम्पनीमै भएका कतिपय डिजिटल कुराहरूलाई कसरी हेर्ने भन्ने कुराहरू अनि त्यसपछि त्यहाँ भएका आफ्ना केही कानुन विपरीत भएका आफूलाई भएका चोट पीडा व्यथाहरूलाई पनि उहाँहरूले कसरी गर्ने भन्ने कुराहरूमा गर्नुभएको छैन त्यसकारण यी प्रक्रियाहरू चाहिँ अझै छन् उहाँलाई अझै ठगी भइरहेको छ उहाँहरू अझै ठगीमै हुनुहुन्छ यहाँ पनि उहाँलाई अझ पीडामै भइरहेको छ सो यो डिजिटलाइजेसनमा यति धेरै इन्फर्मेसनहरू उपलब्ध हुँदा हुँदै पनि यी ठगीका कुराहरू उहाँहरूलाई के रे त्यो रिक्रुटमेन्ट फिसहरु हाई चार्ज गर्ने ती कुराहरू चाहिँ अझै किन घटेको छैन भनेर चाहिँ प्रश्न छ हाम्रो लागि अब जेन्डर इन इक्वालिटी इन प्र्याक्टिस इन गभर्नेन्स सिस्टममा पनि त्यसले पनि हामीलाई देख्छौं जहाँ चाहिँ अस्ति सरोदिदीले मलाई भन्दै हुनुहुन्थ्यो 33% चाहिँ हाम्रो त्यसमा प्रतिनिधित्व भए पनि झन्डै जम्मै 2% मात्रै अब उहाँहरू निर्णायक तहमा हुनुहुन्छ अनि त्यसको कारणले पनि आज महिलालाई सुहाउँदो त्यस्ता खालका निर्णयहरू नआएका हुन सक्छन् अब अहिले पनि सरकारले वैदेशिक रोजगारमा जानको लागि प्रतिबन्ध नै गरेको छ महिलाहरूलाई घरेलु कामदारदेखि लिएर अनि मध्यपूर्व एसियातिर जानको लागि अब यस्ता कुराहरूले चाहिँ हाम्रा दिदीबहिनीहरूलाई सिधा बाटो र उहाँहरू मजाले आफ्नो के रे नेपालको भूमि प्रयोग गरेर जान नपाएको कारणले उहाँहरू एजेन्टको हातमा पर्ने दुलो खोजेर जाने भुइँ खनेर जाने त्यस्ता खालको अवस्थाहरूमा चाहिँ उहाँहरू अझ धेरै पीडित भइरहनु भएको छ अनि त्यसकारण चाहिँ हाम्रो रोका सरले चाहिँ धेरै म्याक्रो लेभलमा पोलिसी लेभलमा उहाँहरू काम गर्नुभएको कारणले ती कुराहरू उहाँ प्यानलिस्टहरूले बताउनु भयो त्यसकारण मैले चाहिँ प्र्याक्टिकल रूपमा चाहिँ हामीले यहाँ काम गरिरहेको अवस्थामा के कुराले फाइदा गरेको छ के कुरो चाहिँ साँचो छ समस्या छ र के कुरो गर्न सकिन्छ भन्ने तरिकाले हेर्दाखेरि उहाँले भन्नुभएको धेरै कुराहरू मैले लिन सके र उहाँ त्यसमा अलिअलि यहाँ दोहोरिएको पनि छ अब त्यो लिफ्ट द ब्यान अफ द वुमेन माइग्रेन्ट वर्कर्स विदेश जानलाई हाम्रो सरकारले अब दशकौंदेखि रोकिरहेको ती कुराहरू पनि अनि त्यसपछि अब एम्पावर वुमेन माइग्रेन्ट वर्कर्स अब कसरी गर्न सकिन्छ आउनु अगाडि हो कि जानु अगाडि हो कि अब गाउँमै हो कि गाविस गाउँपालिकामै हो कि एयरपोर्टमा उड्नुभन्दा अगाडि हो कि त्यो कुराहरूमा त्यसपछि अब भोटिङ सिस्टम पनि हामी बाहिर बसेकोहरूको लागि हाम्रा भोटहरू छैन अनि त्यसमा पनि डिजिटलाइजेसन भयो भने हाम्रा आफ्ना मागहरू उहाँहरूले राख्न सक्नुहुन्छ अथवा हाम्रा भोटहरूले त्यहाँ केही नीतिगत तहमा हामीले अझै राम्रो चुनेर पठाउनलाई हाम्रो पनि भाग छ भनेर हामीलाई के प्रकारको प्रतिनिधित्व भएको आश हुन्छ त्यसपछि अब प्रमोट एडुकेसन फर वुमेन इन साइन्स एन्ड टेक्नोलोजी हाम्रो रोका सरले पनि राख्नुभयो अनि यो कुराहरूमा चाहिँ सरकारले हेर्न सक्यो भने त्यसमा हामीले अगाडि बढाउन सक्यो भने अनि प्रमोट अफोर्डेबल जेन्डर फ्रेन्डली इक्विपमेन्ट्स अनि इभन एप्सहरू हुन सक्छ कि कसरी त्यो लेभलमा चाहिँ गर्दाखेरि अब हामी जान सकिन्छ कि आज हामीले बोलिरहेको विषयहरू चाहिँ विशेष गरेर एकदमै फराकिलो पनि छ अनि त्यसकारण मैले अलिकति साँगुरिएर यहाँ गर्न खोजेको हो अनि हजुरहरूले आज हामी जस्तो विशेष गरेर माइग्रेन्ट्सहरूकै बिचमा दिन प्रतिदिन उहाँहरूसँगै रहेर काम गर्ने हामी जस्ता एक्टिभिस्टहरूको लागि हजुरहरूले हामीसँग केही तपाईहरूको सुझाव छ सल्लाह छ हामीले अगाडि गर्न सक्ने यहाँ रहेर गर्न सक्ने छ भने पनि म हजुरहरूलाई अहिले मलाई बताउनको लागि आग्रह गर्दछु त्यसकारण यदि मैले यहाँ गरेको यो प्रेजेन्टेसनमा केही हजुरहरूको प्रश्न छ भने चाहिँ हजुरहरूले पनि मलाई गर्न सक्नुहुन्छ र यो अवस्थामा चाहिँ विशेष गरेर हामीले अब अगाडि जाँदाखेरि चाहिँ जुन प्रकारको हामीसँग प्लेटफर्म छ डिजिटलाइजेसन छ नेपाली महिलाहरू नेपालको धेरै तहको तगाराहरू तोडेर यहाँ आउनु भएको छ र उहाँहरूलाई हामीले कसरी अगाडि इक्विप गर्न सकिन्छ भन्ने बारेमा चाहिँ म हजुरहरूको पनि राय माग्न चाहन्छु धन्यवाद
Thank you, ma'am. It's true that women should be made aware about the recruitment process and things related to employment by promoting education for women and through digitalization. Thank you so much for your presentation. Now, may I introduce our next panelist, Ms. Aisha Gurung, Marketing Director of Uniped for Canada. Ms. Aisha Gurung is the Sales and Marketing Director for Nepal International Corporation, based in Toronto City and Unipetro Energy Canada. She is the event coordination for Federation of Canada Nepal Chamber of Commerce. She is an IT management professional with an avid interest in law. She is currently studying at Ryerson University in Toronto, Canada. She has a deep interest and knowledge about the issues of women empowerment and gender issues. May I invite Ms. Aisha Gurung for her presentation. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you. And namaste, everyone. It's a good morning here in Toronto, Canada. And I wish good evening to all the viewers and the respected panelists in Nepal. My name is Aisha Gurung. I am an IT management student in Ryerson University, the marketing director for Nepal International Corporation and Unipetro Energy Canada for the last 3 years. As Ms. Anishma said, I'm also the event coordinator for Federation of Canada Nepal Chamber of Commerce, FCNCC. First and foremost, I would like to especially thank Honorable Mohan Krishna Shrestha for inviting me to this webinar and supporting me as a mentor to represent Nepali Canadian women today. So as a Nepali Canadian woman, I'll be speaking from a Canadian perspective on Canada's diversity and the intersectional lens of the country for gender equality, barrier for girls, specifically preteens to teens, gender-based violences, women in workforce, and the pandemic's impact on women. I have mostly used the yearly data from Statistics Canada, UN Women's Annual Reports, studies from Canadian Women Foundation as my resource with some personal examples. I live in the wonderful city of Toronto. It's the benchmark of multiculturalism recognized by United Nations and BBC. From Pride parades to Caribana weekend to Himalayan Mela, the city celebrates all the cultures as a whole. And this diversity has translated into interactions and bonds with people of different nationalities and age groups throughout my work and study careers. We pride ourselves for the diversity and inclusivity that we have and the culture to understand that advancing gender equality isn't just about men and women, but recognizing the hurdles from many elements of identity like sexuality, race, gender, identity, ability, and age. But the statistics, they tell a different story. And that's the story I'm here to unveil. In 2020, there were 28,639 police reported sexual assaults, level 1, 2, and 3, or 75 incidents per 100,000 population, which is actually 9% decrease in the past 5 years and is the largest decrease since 1995. Now, 75 incidents per 100,000 population doesn't sound like much, but let's consider into the fact that only 310 out of 1,000 sexual assaults are reported to the police. That means more than 2 out of 3 go unreported. Now, there's also a wide range of behaviors that don't meet the threshold of criminal behavior, but have a significant negative impact on the victims. 1 in 3 women and 1 in 8 men feel uncomfortable or unsafe in public because of another's behavior. The most common type of unwanted behavior women experience in public was unwanted sexual attention, such as comments, gestures, body language, whistles, or calls. How many women have heard the term "take it as a compliment" when addressing these situations? I've personally heard it multiple times, and I'm sure you all have too. As a mentally sane human, you wouldn't even say hello to a person you don't know. So why is it that this unwanted attention is normalized, when their actions clearly state to us that we are objects to their entertainment and they can say whatever they like, and in most cases we pretend to ignore and not say a word, not to let things escalate? According to an online survey in stopstreetharassment.org, out of 245 respondents, when asked when they first experienced street harassment, almost 70% said they were 13 years or younger. Of those women, 51% said they were 11 years to 13 years old. 18% said 10 years or younger. Another 24% said they were 14 to 16 years old. The remaining 7% were older than 16. Now, how do these numbers correlate with the number of girls pursuing careers in science, technology, engineering, and math, or STEM careers? Self-confidence, like that's the answer. In Canada, girls and boys aged 15 had the same average scores on tests measuring scientific ability. Yet boys are twice as likely as girls to pursue STEM careers, science, technology, engineering, and math, than girls. What's even more alarming is that girls who scored the highest on math ability were still less likely than boys who scored the lowest to pursue STEM subjects in university. And that's a statistic reports from 2018, before the pandemic. Generations of women have felt this societal pressures of what they should be and how they should behave. But girls today feel an added pressure from media stereotypes. There's also a widespread sexualization of girls where their appearance matter more than their intellect or other qualities. Now, physical appearance matter more than intellect or other qualities. Let that sink in. Now, this belief is mostly nonverbal and is advertised in media and is prominent in movies where a beautiful girl only has her beauty to offer. So girls from a young age feel disconnected and undermine themselves from traditional male subjects like math, sciences, and engineering. So while girls feel that they should look a certain way, behave a certain way, they're under constant judgment and are harassed for either being conventionally pretty or to take it as a compliment because they're not. Now, we understand that as girls approach adolescence, they face high levels of sexual assault, a sharp decline in mental health and confidence because of negative stereotyping and sexualization. Previous research indicates that disabled women, Indigenous women, girls and young women, lesbian and bisexual women, and gay and bisexual men are more at risk for experiencing this violence. So why is it that men, especially men on the spectrum of LGBTQ community, also experience the same violence from the same type of people as women? The answer would be femininity. The qualities of nurture, care, expressive emotions, cooperations are generally linked as a stereotypical feminine traits, whereas assertiveness, leadership, independence, and courage, they're linked to stereotypically masculine. When we put people in these boxes, they are limited to what they are and what they can achieve. Gender roles were for the Stone Ages. Boys are under constant scrutiny for showing any emotions and nurture. They're attacked for showing femininity, that they aren't man enough. Examples are negative self-talks and negative talks from the society. His wife is going to step over him in the future. Honestly, the best example of toxic masculinity that I have personally encountered is a phrase that I've heard at a really young age. केटा मान्छे भनेको डरलाग्दो हुनुपर्छ अनि केटी मान्छे भनेको रहरलाग्दो हुनुपर्छ. So boys should be feared and women should be desired. Respect to a man in toxic masculinity culture is fear, and the value of a woman is her desirability to other men. How do we as a society expect a man to respect women and feminine figures when he's taught to hate the characters and characteristics that they represent? These gender roles are unspoken rules of the society and media. Does that mean we limit society and media? Absolutely not. It's important to practice critical thinking and voicing out what's only suggested. For example, I love binging on movies with my little brother and sister. First, we watch something made from a male point of view, like Suicide Squad, and discuss on why the camera work on the girls make me and my sister feel uncomfortable. And then we watch a movie from a female point of view, like Birds of Prey. And although it's the same character wearing the same clothes, we feel more at ease. This activity has allowed us to discuss what we value and where we draw the line. And this teaches our brother what respect to women looks like in media. The government of Canada, with the resources of counseling, mental health advocacies, and empowerment projects, have continuously supported women towards leadership roles to enrich the society and influence decision-making, laws, and policies of a diverse group. In Canada, knowledge-based economy from STEM subjects continue to grow. And according to Statistics Canada 2016, educational attainment among women has increased significantly. The proportion of women aged 25 to 64 with a university certificate or degree grew at a faster pace than that of men, more than doubling between 1991 and 2015, from 15% to 35%. Women are more likely than men to have a college or university qualifications. At least 1/3 of adult women in Ontario, British Columbia, and Alberta have a university certificate or degree. Women account for the majority of recent post-secondary graduates in all provinces and territories today. With these given statistics, women are just as qualified as men in terms of education and qualifications in their given fields. But in the latest 2021 study on diversity among board directors and officers, fewer women are in top decision-making roles. Women were 2 times less likely to be in top roles as presidents and chairmen, and about 1 of 10 of those women were visible minority group. South Asian and Chinese were the most represented in that group. So if women are just as qualified, why are women 30% less likely than men to get promoted out of an entry-level position and 60% less likely to move to management position, middle management into the executive ranks? Now, that's negative stereotyping, and negative stereotyping not only creates an internal barrier, but also an external conflict where it is instantaneously assumed that a woman will primarily take responsibility for home-based labor and childcare. 3/4, that's 75.8% of part-time workers in Canada are women. The top reasons for women being in part-time was care for children. Only 3.3% of men who work part-time cite the same reasons. Interruptions to women's career tend to be longer and more frequent than those experienced by men. Women also report spontaneous short-term absences than men, such as staying at home to care for a sick child or deal with a home repair. So the employer, when in need of a chairman or president, will link a woman as someone who will take a maternity leave, will have absences to take care of their children and home, but will not think the same for a man who also bear those same responsibilities and who will take the same amount of time off. Short-term and long-term absences of women are stigmatized in the workplace and have been linked to fewer promotions and salary increases. But although women are underrepresented in formal leadership roles, there are many women who deserve to be in headlines, who are out on the front lines during the pandemic, taking actions and serving the country in the time of need. The three industries with the highest ratio of women versus men in Canada are healthcare and social assistance, 82.4%, educational services, 69.3%, and accommodation and food services, 58.5%. This is reported by Statistics Canada as well. But women are still on the economic disadvantage. Traditional women's work pays less than traditional men's work. Jobs that conform to traditional gender roles tend to be undervalued because they parallel domestic work that women are expected to perform for free. For example, an average salary of a truck driver in Canada, he earns $49,718 per year, or $25.50 per hour. But the average salary of an early childhood educator is $37,050 per year, or $19 per hour. And the most experienced educator only make up to $45,825 per year. This pandemic has highlighted the importance of our silent heroes who are essential to our society. Our society cannot function without these workers, and they are not paid enough. They're not treated well enough, and they are not respected enough in usual settings. One of my favorite foundations, Canadian Women Foundation, has answered the question of how to eliminate gender pay gaps. That's eliminate barriers for women to enter into high wage occupations, eliminate barriers for women to enter careers in STEM, address systematic discrimination, particularly in male-dominated fields, advocate for improved workplace policies, childcare, family leave, etc. Recognize and challenge gender stereotypes that reinforce notions of appropriate work for men and women. These ideals are easy to preach, but easier to follow. To build a community, you have to build a person, and that starts from within. A full-time job is 9 hours a day at most, but housework is 24 hours full-time. It demands love, care, attention to details. It is physically, mentally, and emotionally demanding. I have seen women in my family handle businesses while taking care of everyone in immediate and extended families. Would you be willing to sign a contract to cook routine meals at specific times according to personal tastes and food restrictions, clean, take care of children, educate them to be better, take care of elderly for minimum wage? Probably not, but most mothers do it for free for a lifetime. Recognize this. Understand the stress and hurdles of being a woman. Only when you can comprehend these issues, then you can go out in the world and find empathy for other women. Then you can challenge the notions head on. But for now, keep the discussions open like we are today. It is a harsh time to be a woman, but a woman like me in developed countries, it is the easiest as it will get. We have the resources to qualify ourselves and test our limits. We should be pursuing careers because we feel it's best for us, not because we're expected into them. Pursue nursing and educating kids if you want to. Pursue engineering, law, and business if you want to. Question your beliefs. Question the lack of support from your surroundings. Believe you can, and you're halfway there. Thank you so much for listening to me. Thank you so much for listening to me today. And it's been such an honor and pleasure to be here. Over to you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for such informative and enlightening presentation. Thank you so much. Continuing, I would like to introduce our final panelist, Mrs. Kavika Thapa, founder CEO of Kimbutech, an international IT company. She is also director of She's also the director of VS International College, chairperson of Syngenta Company Private Limited, country manager of Kava Dev, an Israeli company, and founder of Women in Tech Nepal. Mrs. Thapa is an MBA graduate. She runs a women-led tech company. She is also founder and chairperson for another international business process optimization outsourcing BPO company called Syngenta Company, where women are engaged to work for international clients. She lived in USA for 14 years and she encourages women to learn technology to promote women's leadership. Occasionally, she has been featured in the interviews at AP1 TV, Danta TV, and Kantipur TV, as well as in magazines like Nepal Times, Spotlight, and Kantipur newspaper. She stated, "My dream is to see women not just become IT experts and programmers, but also taking leadership role in every field. To accomplish this, women must be taught more than technical skills. They also must learn to become confident and successful leaders." Now, may I invite Mrs. Kavika Thapa for her presentation. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Anishma, for lovely presentation. Lovely introduction. And thank you, Honorable Mohan Sir, for inviting me today on a Saturday evening. And all of us listening today, I'll try to make this short and also a little bit more personal in terms of my experiences and my journey. And of course, I'll be talking in and out with English and Nepali. So basically, my journey started from US, and then I worked there for 14 years. Luckily, at that time, tech was booming, and I happened to be a tech resource at that time. But I went with the flow, and in the 14 years, I got to work with various industries in US. Which means I got to experience tech from different perspective, right? From education, I worked in a university as a state employee, Michigan State for 3.5 years, and so years. And my last job was at Boston Scientific as a project lead. Managing big my dreams were unfulfilled, and felt that there was so much to do in Nepal. So I'm one of the very few migrant worker that came back hoping that there's a career and there's opportunities. So far the journey has been amazing. I've enjoyed every step of it. I don't see that I didn't go through a tech industry where there's very few leaders as women in the tech industry around. But when I came back, Nepal was still untapped, and digital or a technical revolution hadn't happened. I mean, still hasn't happened, but still I feel with COVID, tech came as a necessity, and people started to adopt technology in whatever field. Let's say education. My 3-year-old sits in doing the online class, and she does it very well. She can navigate everything. She uses Microsoft Teams, logs in, does her classes, submits her homework. And to be able to just see as a mom, to be able to see that a 3-year-old and trying to explain the same technology to my 70-year-old dad, right? So it's still challenging, but the new generation is picking up the tech so easily. So there's a lot of hope for the future. Hopefully, we have so many things happening from the young generation contributing to Nepal, right? So then coming back to the healthcare, you have your reports, your COVID reports coming to your phone, your blood reports, medical report, and even that is happening in Nepal, right? So slowly, with the necessity, tech kind of came the process, right? Tech is something that is not on itself, but it is something that gets efficient and better way, I guess. Right. So that is happening on the health sector, right? We have reports, that people are getting daily reports of the status, what's going on around the world, right? What's happening in France, what's happening in Italy, what's happening in India. So that kind of made us prepared for pandemic, right? So digital transformation is happening day in, day out in every field. Coming to Nepal as a tech hub, right? That's my vision, is why not Nepal becomes the tech hub of the world, one of the tech hub, right? Because with migrant, with remittance coming into Nepal, but we all know that it's not a stable, it's a very unstable source of income for a country like us. And our young generation going as a migrant definitely is going to have a long-term impact to Nepal, right? So how do we solve this? How can we overcome this? Through tech, right? We make high-end jobs come into Nepal, good paying jobs. We reduce the brain drain, the opportunities. There is a lot of jobs here, good jobs, and then ultimately reduce the trade deficit. If we can, leapfrog that, then there's a lot of opportunities for Nepal to be able to those opportunities, right? So this is the time where internationally, a lot of my clients, we were the least hit during the pandemic because we were tech, right? So most of our staff are still working remote for the last 2 years. We were able to bring in a new business that started in tech. We were able to bring in new clients, and everything happened in the pandemic. And to be able to see that, opportunity happening right here, staying in Nepal, to be able to support clients from Israel and America and working for. So that is the trend in the rest of the world, and people or big clients are looking for untapped areas like Nepal, Israel. We've been able to get a lot of Israeli clients because who believe in them. We need leaders to believe in our resources. I understand that there is a lot of challenges in the education sector and academic sector, and to be able to produce world-class employees or international employees, there's a lot of work to be done. Definitely, I'm putting my share every day. And if all of us come together and believe that tech is the solution for Nepal to come out through the poverty, or to come out through all of the challenges in terms of economic challenges, right? So, and we use that technology to harness the benefit of Nepal being so remote, still be able to provide education to the remote part of Nepal through tech, right? To be able to provide telemedicine, to be able to provide weather information, right? All of these is possible. And I'm seeing it every day. I'm breathing it every day. We have, I have a team of 18 to 21 years old girls, all girls team that is supporting a 24-hour operation from here in Nepal. They've been able to go to college, do their jobs, still work for an international, doing perfectly fine with their communication leadership, just pushing them a little bit, just giving them the opportunity, just giving them the infrastructure, right? So there's a lot of things that's happening in Nepal, and more and more I see hope that there will be more women in this area. I felt There was very few tech leaders as women in this sector. So I also host a Facebook group, Women in Tech, where we're almost 3,800 women around the world who are into tech or not tech, but just to be able to find that support group and just to be able to, it's free, it's everybody's sharing, they're finding problems, tech problems. It's kind of support group that is not limited to Nepali group, or that's supported internationally, that's supported things that are happening in Bangladesh. Maybe we can learn from them, right? So, so that's what I. And there's a lot of challenges in terms of recruiting women as a programmer. You know, it starts really early on. We all know that there are less girls going into, you know, away from the STEM at an early age, maybe from grade 7, 8. And then, you know, you have very few people, very few girls going into the higher education. Then in turn, very less graduates, which in turn, then when we try to recruit women, there's very few application, or sometimes, most of the time, none application from women. So the whole pipeline is messed up. Like, we don't have enough pipeline to be able to say that we need few women. So, you know, in order to go to even to the leadership position, being a single woman in a company doesn't give you that leverage to be able to get promoted or, you know, be that leader that everybody wants you to be, right? There's so many side factors that all of, you know, Sapna ma'am, Aisha ma'am, and, you know, have highlighted, right? So Dungana sir, there are challenges, you know, even if you, you know, Dungana sir was mentioning that if, you know, the stock market prices goes down if there is a women CEO, right? So things like subtle things that happen every day, subtle things to be able to go out to work and not worry about kids, you know, work-life balance, which is, again, you know, a lot of us still, we all come together and, you know, make this happen, right? We can't let another generation still struggle and still talk about what we are talking today, right? It should be equal, it should be similar, it should, you know, all of our girls need to get the same opportunity. Having said that, right, so what else? I think digital, ultimately, it's, you know, we are going to the right direction. And I feel that the next 5 years is going to be amazing in the tech sector. We will see a boom in terms of every sector trying to be involved in tech. And this will in turn bring a lot of women into tech and a lot of problem solving and collaboration happening between women organization and women with different fields. I see the future really well, but it's not easy. There's a lot of challenge in terms of being able to produce world-class developers and world-class tech resources. Still being here in Nepal, it comes all the way from education, you know, from early on, building that confidence, building that, you know, digital literacy, and, you know, reaching the opportunity. It's still hard to explain to kids here that, you know, IT is something that is connected and collaborated with every field, right? You know, every field is touched by IT, you know, whether it's medical, whether it's legal, whether it's, you know, any field, you know. So IT cannot be looked into as a separate, but it is an integration and it is a collaboration. It is something that will strengthen your career. It is something that will, you know, make your life easier, make your jobs more sustainable, get that promotion that you're waiting for. Having said that, you know, I would like to stop here and do not want to take a Saturday evening away from your family here in Nepal. And any questions, I would love to spend more time in taking the questions. And thank you all for this amazing discussion today. I'm sure I learned a lot, and will be using those in my path forward.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your wonderful insights and for sharing your vision towards women empowerment in tech. Now, we are moving towards the second half of the webinar. So the floor is open for questions. We will take a few questions directed to the panelists. All the participants' mic will be muted, so the questions should be put forward either in the Zoom chat box or in the comment section of Facebook Live. So if anyone has any questions for the panelists, you can put forward your questions in the comment section.
Again, it doesn't have to be a question, something that came out of the presentation today.
Yes, Sapna ji has a question in the comment.
I think Sapna ji, so definitely, you know, there has been a lot of NGOs trying to work with this issue, to solve this issue, because it's such a critical issue that it starts from within the family. And sometimes it is so hard. There's so many tools out there that you can help, that you can use, trying to, you know, educate yourself. I think Nepal government is also trying to, you know, launch so many things where, you know, you're protected, you're making sure, all of your documentation, you're making sure that, you know, there was one time where I had proposed a plan where, you know, you ask various general questions, is vulnerable to being sold or, you know, migrated in the wrong way, right? So the potential is big, but I don't know how much we have used in terms of really migration and stopping the wrong migration that's happening, right? Gender violence issues, you know, there's a lot of things that you can send through WhatsApp that you've done. There's other apps that government asks people to enter before they leave Nepal or things like that. But I can't give you a specific tool right now. And I'll, if I come across anything, I'll share. But definitely, you know, just being aware of what that person is going behind, and be able to save that one girl from being trafficked or being sold. It will be a big accomplishment for, you know, the tech people like us.
Thank you, ma'am. We have some time, so we can take a few more questions. If you have any questions, then you can ask.
As we are waiting, I can just add a note to say about tech, and to understand or educate yourself in tech would definitely, you know, help, especially younger generation, think of tech, and especially care of your kids and put them to bed and still go back to your work. I think tech has enabled us to bring those kind of work-life balance that we never had in our history, right? So
Okay, thank you, ma'am. I guess we don't have any more questions. So now we are close to the end of the webinar. So may I invite Dr. Mitra Bandhu Bodel, Vice President of CDD and Principal of LSTM, to sum up the webinar.
Okay, thank you, Anisma. Respected chair, distinguished panel of experts, guests, ladies and gentlemen. It was really great to learn from the distinguished panel of experts on today's webinar. There are two powers in the world. One is the sword and the other is the pen. There is a third power stronger than both, that of woman. It is the quote of Malala Yousafzai. And to start with, Ambassador Shrestha, our president of CDD, highlighted the importance of women empowerment and digitalization for women, giving some international and domestic examples. And our first speaker, R.K. Dungana, highlighted that women population covers more than 50%, and the big question is the participation, and it is the global problem. So it is necessary to take initiatives from home, and we need to change our mindset through awareness, education, and initiatives, capacity development, skill development, social transformation, self-empowerment, and promoting entrepreneurship, as well as conflict resolution in individual level and in collective level, and access in digitalization would enhance the woman empowerment. So that was the real, essence of his presentation, and we have to update and upgrade to save ourselves from outdate. That is the essence I got from Mr. Dungana, and he finally highlighted the digitalization for women roadmap. And we need to break mental, physical, social, religious, cultural, and financial limitation. So the important lesson I learned from Mr. Dungana was reprogramming mind and redesigning life will help empowering women. So the second speaker was Sapna Basalji. She highlighted her presentation through the labor migrant woman in Malaysia, and she shared the success stories and rescue case studies as well. And digitalization has given platform to migrant women, especially in Malaysia, in terms of social media use, and also, producing citizen journalism, and also, using phone call and WhatsApp, platform. And it is necessary to lift the ban of woman migrant worker, and it is necessary to equip and empower women, and also digitalize the voting system, and promoting education and promoting affordable gender-friendly equipment would enhance the woman empowerment. This was the real essence of Sapna Basalji. The third speaker, Ms. Ayusa Gurung, she highlighted her presentation, from a Canadian perspective, and experience sharing in terms of diversity and inclusiveness. And also, she highlighted, various terms. She talked about unwanted behavior, unwanted attention, and also she was talking about the societal pressure and media stereotype, another problem, and also the problem, also the problem regarding these indigenous people who face more risks. Similarly, LGBT community also. And she talks about the statistics of toxic masculinity and so forth. And her presentation was backed by numerous references. So it was such a research-based, comprehensive presentation. And I suggest Aisha Ji to email us her paper so that we can publish it in research-based journal. Now, also other important things she highlighted was the situation of stigmatization in job from Canadian perspective, and she just gave the range of the remuneration of educator and truck driver, which was quite interesting for me, and also the importance of the value of the housework that is spent 24 hours for free and the full-time job of 9 hours. So there is contradiction and the relevant, relevant, and also we need to look carefully about the situation. And the fourth speaker, Karvika Thapaji, shared a personal journey that was related to technology. And what she was talking about, the new generation are, taking technology as part of their life, and technology is something essential for our daily life in education, better health services, media, and so forth. Nepal can be an important tech hub, and she highlighted job will reduce the problem of brain drain and minimize the trade deficit through technology. And technology is the possible solution for poverty elimination. And the next 5 years is going to be very exciting in technological resources, and also see talk about the problems also. So having said these things, I really enjoyed, learning from our distinguished panel of experts. That's all I have to say. Thank you. Over to you, Anismaji.
Thank you, sir. With this, we have come to the end. Thank you, everyone, for attending this webinar. I'm sure this session has been very informative and fruitful. Now, may I invite Mrs. Kirti Thapa, General Secretary of Center of Diplomacy and Development, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. Founder, President of CDC, Mohan sir, panelist, respected R.K. Dunganaji, Sapna Korongji, founder of Kimbutek, Karvika Thapaji, and Aishaji, and respected participants, friends, and well-wishers. On behalf of Center for Diplomacy and Development, I wanted to take this opportunity to express our sincere thanks and appreciation to all distinguished panelists and guests. As you know, that CDD has been effortless to host seminars on different topics from time to time, and in particular webinars during this this pandemic situation. I do hope that our webinar has proceeded very smoothly, and our distinct speakers have made excellent presentations on various topics. We have listened to their ideas, facts, figures, as well as personal journeys and even ideas on and way forwards in this regard. I think digitization offers a variety of opportunity for women's empowerment and for a more equal female participation of women in every sector. Getting women and girls in ICT is vital for numerous of reasons, as the ICT, facilitates the provision of education, job training opportunity, and also improves even access to healthcare and women's in terms of meaningful participation. So policymakers, I think it's really, therefore there's a high need for policymakers to make good policy to enable women's access to digitization. And let me take this opportunity to thank our President of CDC and Vice President Dr. Mitra Bandhu sir, Moderator Ms. Anisa Gautam ji, Rapporteur Kripa Ghimire ji, and Technical Support Mr. Bozendra Mansakya for their unflinching support to CDC and to this webinar. Thank you for all those who have helped CDC directly and indirectly in hosting such webinars now and also in the past. Thank you. I wish you all a wonderful evening. Thank you so much. Over to you, Anisa ji.
Thank you, ma'am. We'd like to thank everyone for your valuable time and your cooperation. Thank you and good night to everyone. Namaste.
Thank you.
Good
Thank you.
night.
Namaste,
Stay
everyone.
safe, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Good night.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Shubharatri. Good night, everybody.